welcome to my store.
The corals
These are tube
or
worms.
these like a plants or
These are animals.
oh, these are animals.
Inside that,
vertebrates.
yes. Inside that tube is an animal that looks like a worm, and that's his feeding mechanism. And if it gets damaged, he can regrow another one. That's an animal. It's not a plant. And then this tube is made out of mucus and mud, mucus and dust. He just puts the mucus out, and then as things stick to it, it gets thicker and thicker and thicker.
Can you touch them? Are they poisonous or they're okay to touch? Oh.
These are empty tubes, sweetie.
Oh,
okay. Sometimes when you bring them in, they leave their tube and they make a new tube.
Oh, that's why I was seeing that. I thought they were dead.
No, they made a new tube.
Oh, where are they then?
I sold them.
Oh, then they don't stay with the tube. This is like a temporary house for them.
If they like the tube, they can stay with it. But if the tube, like, say, gets pinched or something like that, they seem to go for a new tube. See this one? You see how the end of it got a little broken? So they just made a new tube.
How do they make a new tube?
Mucus and mud.
Mucus and mud?
Mucus and mud.
Oh, are they going to be bigger than that?
This is about as big as the tubes get. Okay? So you
oh,
hold
then
that
as
up
they
next to
grow, they're making the tube because
they stretch it out.
They stretch it out.
Yeah, like the animal gets bigger, so it shoves out, and they can also make new tube on this end and start to not use this end.
Oh, okay.
Because if they're not always making it, this will disintegrate over time. It gets broke down.
Okay, then you leave it in the tank and get disintegrated. But if you do see that head there that is the feather, that means it's not because they dead, it's because they changed for another tube.
Yes. And if you see the feather head lying on the bottom of the tank, you just feel the tube. And you can feel him inside. He's firm like a solid earthworm.
Are they easy to take care?
Oh, yes. Basically, it's all about food. If you don't have the right food to feed them, they won't live.
And what is this here? Like
this here
like
is a sea cucumber. It's a sea cucumber.
Oh, a sea cucumber.
And that was born here too.
Oh, really?
Either that or it came in just so small that I didn't see it.
Oh,
okay.
Then you really have the good breathing conditions in this tank.
Well, it's all about the environment and the food. If you put in the green water, which is microalgae, it's 2 to 4 microns, and you put in the rotifers, which are 150 to 300 microns, you will actually support a population of animals that will help other animals breed.
What is that one that looks like a flower?
The red?
Is that a plant? Is that the red one?
This is a type of algae. It's red bubble algae.
That's nice.
Now
nice.
this feels like a it feels like a grape. Like it's kind of firm, it's full of water. There's the red algae.
And then there's green.
And then there's green bubbles. There's a green bubble right there. Okay? Now the green bubble can become a bit of a problem, but I've never heard of anybody having trouble with the red.
What happens if they pop?
If the green ones pop, they spread spores all throughout your fish tank and you end up getting more. So I would assume the same thing would happen with the red one. But the red one, I very seldom ever see it. It's mostly in tanks that are doing really, really well. So it might be a harder algae to grow.
What is this thing here?
The purple?
The purple.
That's coraline algae. Basically, it's a type of algae that takes calcium carbonate out of the water and uses it to grow. Now, the reason this looks so straight is because I use a razor blade all the time to shave it off the glass.
Oh, it goes wholly into the glass.
Well, if you see here,
yeah.
Like if we didn't scrape it off the tank, it would be purple and we couldn't see through the glass.
Then it has the job to be taking it, straightening it and cleaning it up all the time, like an algae thing.
Well, it's something that you really want, because if you have that growing on your rocks, it means your rocks are being really healthy. Plus, it keeps other algae from growing on top of it as easily. Like, we don't brush this off, but there's no green algae growing on there.
Yeah, I know.
because it's growing, so it keeps the other algae from growing on top of it.
Okay, it's just the fact that you cannot see any longer your
You can't see
features
through
there.
it.
If you have, then that's why you have to keep it, taking it from the glass, but it is good for the rocks and whatever.
It makes
grows
your rocks look
inside.
really pretty, and it will actually tie them together because as it grows, it gets thicker and thicker, and it'll make ledges and shelves and everything.
Is this the same plant that you have upstairs in the
Yeah,
in the
this
other
is the
one?
chaetomorph algae.
Chaetomorphologist.
Chaetomorph
Chaetomorphologist.
algae.
Algae. Oh.
How do you spell keto?
Q-U-I-T-O.
No. C-H.
Like Quito, Ecuador.
C-H-A-E-T-O. Keto, M-O-R-P-H, morph.
Okay. I thought it was having the name of that.
We have spelling
capital.
lessons here too.
I thought it was having the name of the capital of Ecuador. What is that?
Okay, this here is a protein skimmer, also known as a foam fractionation device. Now, if you look in here, you'll see how there's all sorts of little bubbles in the water. The protein molecule has one end that likes air and one end that likes water, so it sticks to the bubble and makes the bubble stronger. So in this way, the bubbles rise up in this chamber and they dry out, like they lose water. And that way, when the foam comes over, this is proteinaceous waste. By taking it out of the water before it decays, you remove the ammonium nitrate cycle.
And this one is for the fish tank.
This is for fish tanks, for reef tanks. It's anytime you want to keep your water cleaner. We use it here in the invertebrate system, which has some fish in it, and we also use it
Like a
down here.
filter.
It replaces part of your filter. We also have one down here that we use
Oh, the
in the
protein
fish
is
tank.
the protein skimmer.
Yeah, that's a protein skimmer.
Oh,
Okay. So there's different models. You can have them where they're just a big chamber that you have a lot of airstones. The smaller the bubble, the better. In the olden days, what we used to use was wooden airstones. That way the pores of the wood would be what made the bubbles really tiny.
And that's the purpose of in the tank, it is?
It takes
So-
the filth out of the water before the filth starts to decay.
And then it's a very
It helps
important
keep
to
your water a
have.
lot cleaner. The disadvantage is it does take some food out. If you use a dye-based medication, it will take it out, and it will basically take all the carbon dioxide out of your water because it's bubbling so much.
Well, some people they ask for them, is it because make the job easier that they don't
Yes.
have to clean the water as often as if they don't have it, or what?
It makes the water cleaner. You should still do your water changes just as much as always, because the better the water, the better your fish. Fish grow to the quality of their water. If your water is really clean and pure, a fish will grow just as fast in a small tank as if the fish is in a really big tank.
Oh, okay. Good, thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
And